So if you'd like to gently lie onto your back, we're going to begin this masterclass with a self-healing practice, focusing on the breath and the body. To bring the body into a state of balance, a state of ease. So firstly, just allowing your body to completely surrender to the earth. Feeling the support of the earth beneath you. And just allow yourself to be fully held here. As you sense an energy of support and nurturance from the earth. There's nothing you have to do, and there's nowhere to get to. And from that space, allowing yourself to be here in the now. And now bring your awareness to your body. So being aware of the body and being aware of sensations in the body. You don't need to change them or make them any different. Just allow them to be there as they are. You may be experiencing some discomfort, some unpleasant sensations, maybe some pain. Rather than judging or reacting to the sensations, just notice them. And now, bring your awareness to your breath. The easiest place to locate the breath is at the navel center, so the belly area. So bring your awareness here and begin to notice the natural rise and fall of your belly on the flow of your breath. On your inhales, there's a subtle rise to the belly. On the exhales, there's a subtle fall to the belly. Just noticing this movement of the belly on the flow of your breath. And we'll now begin to shape the breath. So if you have your cushion close by, placing your cushion on your belly here. Feeling the weight of your cushion. If you don't have a cushion, you can place your hands over your belly. And on your next inhale, inhaling into your belly and feeling your belly expand. As if it's like you're blowing up a balloon. So the belly expands on the inhales. And on your exhales, the belly contracts towards the spine. On your inhales, the belly expands. On your exhales, the belly contracts. And continue here at your own pace. The mind may become distracted. That's okay. Just come back to your breath without judgment. On your inhales, the belly expands. On your exhales, the belly falls. And treat this practice as an exploration. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just an exploration of the breath. Leaving your cushion on your belly, we're now going to place both our hands on the chest. So cushion on belly, hands on chest. If you have no cushion, just one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. And for this next few rounds of breath, we're going to continue inhaling into the belly. So the inhale starts in the belly expands. And this time, we're going to allow the breath to naturally rise up into the chest. And you'll feel an expansion to the chest, and the hands will slightly rise. And on your exhales, smoothly release, noticing how the chest naturally relaxes on the exhales. And continue at your own pace, remembering there's no right or wrong way. It's an exploration. On your inhales, the belly expands and the breath naturally rises into the chest. The chest expands, and then on your exhales, a smooth release as you empty the lungs. And as you continue this process, I'd invite you just to notice if you're breathing in and out through the mouth or the nose. And if it's through the mouth, just see if you can inhale and exhale through the nose only. You might feel some blockages in the nose. You might feel it's a challenge. That's completely normal. Again, it's just an exploration. Embrace any congestion or blockages and continue the process. Allowing the breath to be silent and smooth. And then allowing the length of inhale to be equal to the length of the exhale. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just setting the intention of making length of inhale and length of exhale even. And now allowing the breath to be completely effortless. You are no longer shaping the breath. Allow your breath to be guided by innate intelligence. And you transition to being an awareness of the breath. The breath flows effortlessly. You are awareness. Begin to bring your awareness back into your body. And just begin to wake your body up here in whatever way feels natural to you. Maybe some movements of the hands, the feet, the wrists and the ankles, just any movements that feel nice, feel natural. And then slowly you can roll over to your right hand side and just rest here on your side body for a couple of breaths. Just resting. There's nothing you have to do. And then in your own time, you can return to a comfortable seat wherever you would like to position yourself for the talking section of this masterclass. So yeah, just finding a comfortable seat, maybe on a chair, maybe however you want to set up. And I'll begin the talk in about 20 seconds. I'll just let you guys come around and come back into the space. So we've just done a quick self-healing practice. And, you know, ultimately these practices are designed to promote healing. And sometimes we can have a beautiful experience of peace and calm, and that can translate into the body in terms of how we feel. But that's not always the case. And you might have done it and you might have felt a lot of discomfort. You might have not enjoyed it at all. And I think that's the most important thing with these practices, is to have no expectation. We can experience pain and discomfort, and we can also experience peace and calm and those qualities within ourselves. But it's not always that way. So if you didn't have such a pleasant experience, don't be disheartened. That's okay. That's part of being human. But through my experience of consistent practice, I've been practicing for many years now. Not every day is pleasant, but it's a commitment that I make because I know ultimately it's going to serve me in terms of my health, in terms of my well-being. So if anyone wants to write in the chat what they experienced, if it was a healing experience for them. I know from personal experience, when I first did meditation, it was one of the first experiences when I'd been in pain for about 7 years constantly. And when I did a meditation, it was probably one of the first experiences I had where I actually didn't feel in pain. And it was such a relief, like just for 20 minutes, just to be in no pain. And to just get that glimpse of relief, this is why I've continued to practice it, because in that moment, nothing had gave me relief. I tried pharmaceutical drugs, I tried yoga, I tried everything. But meditation gave me a glimpse of what it felt like to be healthy. And that's why I like to share with people, because at least you can get a glimpse, even if it's just for a moment, of what it feels like to be healthy and to have some sort of relief from your symptoms. So yeah, like I said, if anyone wants to share their experience in the chat, you're absolutely welcome to. If not, that's cool. But yeah, today I'm going to go into the talk now, and I'm going to split it up into different sections. So the first section, I'm going to talk about my personal experience, mainly because I think it's very relatable in terms of what people go through as it relates to chronic pain. Then I'm going to go into the root cause. So what causes chronic pain? And I remember this was an issue I had with when I was going through the journey. You know, I was 19 or 20 when this started. And, you know, you hear of older people getting arthritis and these different things. But for me, I was like, this makes no sense. How am I 20 years old? I was playing lots of sport. I was healthy in terms of went to the gym. You know, I ate well. I slept well. But my body was just in so much pain. So on that level, I had a lot of questions. And I was always asking, what's causing this? What's causing this? You know, it wasn't always there. It's just something that's come on. I don't understand. But no one could answer that question for me. And that has just come through my own realizations, you know, and through learning more about the mind and the body, how they're connected. And yeah, this is what I'll share with you today, the different causes of chronic pain. So you can then realize within yourself, okay, what's causing this, right? Because once we have that knowledge, we can then take steps to come back into balance. Because at your essence, you're healthy, right? And then we accumulate imbalance throughout our life in terms of emotionally, mentally, and physically. We accumulate imbalances. And that leads to the disease that we experience. And for people who are on this, it's going to be pain. For some people, it's digestive issues. For some people, it's headaches. Some people, it's autoimmune. I mean, the modern world, we have many chronic conditions, right? For you guys, and what we're talking about today is pain. But it's an accumulation of imbalance on different levels of our being. So hopefully by explaining the different causes, you'll be able to notice those imbalances within yourself. So then you can take steps to come back into a state of balance and wholeness. And then the third section will be healing. So how can we heal? So what steps can we take on a personal level to heal? Because there is so much we can do for ourselves to heal. But for many people, they just don't know. They have no idea of these different practices. They have no idea what they can do on the level of lifestyle, of diet, of sleep. And all these things can be helpful in relieving our symptoms and coming back into a state of health. So this will be the talk section, and then we'll finish. We'll do a breathwork practice and a meditation. To finish, again, some more self-healing practices for you to get a direct experience of these practices. And yeah, for people who've been on these before with me, I run different meditation courses and masterclasses on healing. Sometimes I run over, that's part of it. I'm going to try and stick to the structure in terms of to finish the meditation at 11:30. And then if I feel like there's any loose ends I'd like to tie up in terms of the talk, I'll probably go on till 12. And that's also an opportunity for you guys just to ask any questions you might have in terms of your personal symptoms. But for now, I'm going to start the talk. So my experience. So when I was 20 years old, or 19, it started, I began to develop symptoms in my body. So what started off as a bit of tension in my calf, a bit of tightness, a bit of tension in my hips. I went to the physio as we do, and I got, you know, a rub, some muscle manipulation, and the pain went away, the tension went away. But then it came back, and I went to the physio for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and this cycle of, you know, until it got to the point where I was actually getting no relief from the physio. So then obviously you escalated and you start going to doctors and you get scans and so yeah, I went on that whole journey of scans and doctors and consultants and everything. I'd say I went to every single consultant and doctor in Ireland as it related to pain. And none of them could explain what was happening. You know, there was a little bit of inflammation in my hips, nothing abnormal, but essentially I was still in a lot of pain. And eventually I did get a diagnosis. You know, some doctor said that the inflammation was arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis. These are the things that I was diagnosed with. And just to give you an idea, I was in a lot of pain. Like when I look back, I was in a lot of pain. You know, I remember often saying to my mom that it would just be easier if I didn't have an arm. And I know that's and might seem an extreme thing to say, but it felt like my arm was just hanging off and I was just dragging it with me through life. I was walking with a limp. I mean, it got to the stage where I was really struggling to converse with people because the pain was so distracting. Like I couldn't actually hold a conversation with people. So the reason I share that is not for sympathy. It's to give you an insight because honestly, I didn't think it was possible I could heal. You know, I thought this is my life. Like it got to the stage where my body felt so broken and so fragile, and I felt so off center and just completely disconnected that like there was no chance I could heal. This was my thought process. And honestly, I used to say to my parents, I'd say, look, the way this is going, I'll be in a wheelchair by the time I'm 30. And the irony is that I'm 30 now and I play sport freely. I dance. There's no limitations in terms of what I can do. So that just gives you a glimpse, right? And so to go from the doctor situation, eventually I just decided this is not working. I'm going to take a different route. And I started practicing yoga and mobility. And I did get some relief, but I was still very focused on the physical body. And, you know, for many people who have pain, this is one of the biggest obstacles to them healing, right? When we think about pain, it makes sense to us that it must be a physical issue. It has to be. That's the only thing that can make sense for us. Like, oh, I've kind of put something out of place. I've slipped a disc. Something has happened on a physical level. And this was my approach too. I thought if I just stretch enough and do enough mobility, surely my body will open up, right? But again, it didn't work. I did mobility and yoga for 3 years, right? It got to yes, my situation improved, but I was still in a lot of pain, right? Now, interestingly, during that period of time, I did see a slightly different type of doctor, a more holistic practitioner. And basically he just asked me how I was, right? And my answer is that I was fine. I was just in a lot of pain. And it was interesting because he began to actually investigate a little bit more. He asked me, you know, has anything challenging happened in the last 10 years, in the last 5 years? What are your relationships like? What's your work situation? He just asked me about my life and how I was. And even though I started off with, I'm fine, I realized as I was talking that actually I had a lot of stuff that I was unhappy about in my life. And I remember coming out of that appointment, sitting into my car, taking a big breath and being like, whoa, that was a lot. And you know what? I felt a lot of relief from my symptoms. I didn't feel as in much pain as when I went into that room. And it was the first time I really thought, I was like, maybe there's something else at play here. You know, maybe this isn't just a physical issue. And, you know, it still took me some time to really come to that realization. And the reason that is for me, and I think for many people, is because if people say to us that our symptoms might have some sort of emotional or psychological factors involved, we immediately take it as an insult. And I took it as an insult. I remember the first time someone said it to me, I was like, no, I'm fine. I've got everything handled. I'm just in pain. But it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you because there's some sort of emotional and psychological factors involved. It just means that you're human. And like naturally, if we have things that are unprocessed in terms of mentally and emotionally, the body just reflects that. And if it's not pain in terms of chronic pain, it might be digestive issues, it might be headaches, it might be migraines. And honestly, for people who want to heal from their pain, one of the biggest steps you can take is just accepting that there's different factors at play here, that it's not just a physical issue. You know, I was waiting for someone to wave a magic wand and maybe rub me in a certain place, massage me, or do some sort of technique, and the pain would go away. I was waiting for a quick fix. I just wanted to be better in an instant. But honestly, if you want to truly heal, like truly heal, it's not a quick fix. And that's honestly, that's not a bad thing, because it's the most beautiful journey you'll go on. Because you won't just heal from your pain, you'll also realize who you truly are in your essence, and start living a life in alignment with your soul, in alignment with, if you don't resonate so much with soul, who you truly are, right? In your essence. And not living a life and being someone that you think other people want you to be. Living a life in alignment with who you are. And honestly, if often that's what the pain is asking us to do, right? It's asking us to go, and this isn't just pain, this is all disease. It's asking us to transform. It's asking us to move beyond the physical body and go inwards to the deeper layers of who we are and realize who we truly are in our essence. Because ultimately, that's the journey we're all on anyway. So, yes, that gives you an idea of my experience, my journey. It was only through meditation and these deeper practices that I began to truly heal. Firstly, because I got a glimpse of what it felt like to be in relief from pain. Secondly, meditation helped me because meditation is a direct experience with yourself. So through that experience, you will become aware of your thoughts and your emotions. And I realized when I started to meditate consistently that I would have a thought would come in, and then a sensation would follow. So I might have some sort of thought in relation to someone else, in relation to something that happened that I wasn't too happy with. And then I would have an experience of discomfort and pain. Something might have happened. I might have had an argument with someone. So I would sit and meditate, and I could feel the anger inside me. And I could also feel the symptoms of pain. I would be meditating, and a memory would come up, and I'd be sad about something that happened in the future, and I'd experience pain. I'd be frustrated about my life situation, about my job, something along these lines, my financial situation, anything like this. And again, my body would reflect it in pain. So through this process of meditation, I began to see the link between my thoughts, my emotions, and my symptoms. And I can't do that for anyone else. I can't do that for you. I can't meditate for you, but I can tell you my experience and what I've been through, and to help you see the link between our thoughts, emotions, and the symptoms we experience. Because hopefully then it will put you on the right track, at least on the track to healing. So yeah, I'm going to take a breath. If anyone wants to write in the chat, I'm going to leave everyone on mute just for this talk. At the end of the talk, you can ask questions. If you have any questions that you're dying to ask, I would invite you to write them down if you have a journal. If you want to grab a journal and a pen now, that's also cool. And yeah, a journal can also be helpful if you want to take notes during the session. So I'll just give you a minute. I'm just going to take a drink and just take a breath. Okay. So next step on this journey. I'll just see, did I touch on everything? Okay. Yeah, so section 2 is the root cause. The root cause. So what is the underlying root cause of the pain? And this was a question I had. I just wanted, like, what's causing this? Because it didn't make any sense to me, you know? You think you're not in pain one day and then you're in pain the next. It's like to me, on a logical mind level, I'm like, something must have happened, right? And I just, you know, the modern model in terms of the medical system is you get a diagnosis and it's like a prison, right? It's not like you have arthritis and, oh, but it will go in a couple of years if you do these practices and make these lifestyle changes. It's just you have arthritis and now you'll take this drug to manage your symptoms. And again, I'm not knocking doctors, I'm not knocking nurses. They are amazing people. It's the system, it's not the people working in the system. And this system, this is why many people remain in pain or in their symptoms, is because they become identified with the diagnosis they have. They don't think it's possible to heal. Like when I got my diagnoses, no one said, oh, Jack, you'll get better if you do these things, or it's possible you can improve your situation, right? And this is why the root cause is really important. It's to understand what is the imbalance. What have we accumulated psychologically, emotionally, and physically that is causing the symptoms we're experiencing? And honestly, whether it's pain, digestive issues, headaches, or whatever disease you have, the clue is in the word dis-ease. So dis-ease is two words, dis and ease. Dis means a lack of. So it's a lack of ease or unease. So if there is unease, mentally, emotionally, or physically, it doesn't happen overnight, but eventually that accumulates. There's a disease process. Like everything, it has a process, and eventually it starts manifesting as symptoms. For us, it's pain. But there's 6 stages in the disease process, according to Ayurveda, which has been the main study for me. This is an ancient, holistic lifestyle medicine. It's translates as knowledge of the lifespan. It's super in harmony with nature and how we're made up of these different elements. And Ayurveda talks about imbalance, right? But also there's 6 stages of disease. And it's only on stage 4 of the disease that we start actually experiencing symptoms in the body. So what happens is there's an accumulation stage in the background that's happening. And then eventually we have symptoms. So it's about noticing what has been accumulating under the surface. And for many of us, it's stuff that we just not aware of. And this is hopefully to give you that awareness, to make you aware of, okay, what are these things that are causing the pain? So the first one for me personally, and from working with people in pain or these symptoms, is resistance. Okay? And this is super in line with a lack of ease, right? So dis-ease, lack of ease. Resistance. So when I'm in a state of resistance towards life, being I'm not okay with the way things are, and I think things should be different. And this can come up in many, many areas of our life. We might think we should be different ourselves. We might think we should be in a different place in our life. We should have achieved more. We should have more money. We should have a different job. We should anything. You can honestly, I should have a partner. All of these shoulds, right? You have the reality of the way your life is, and then you have a conversation about the way it should be. And the difference between the two is suffering or resistance. So what's the antidote to this is acceptance. So being okay with the way things are, bringing a state of acceptance into your life. This is the first thing that will be helpful to promote healing. And then for people who have pain, it's resistance to their emotions. This is a common theme with people who have chronic pain. Because if you think about it, the experience within themselves is one of pain and discomfort. And that is because there is pain and discomfort inside them. They're hurt, right? There has been things that's happened in their life that are unprocessed emotions. Let's just take anger. For me, suppressed anger was a huge one for me. I had a lot of anger inside me. There was things that happened in my life that I wasn't happy about and that I was angry about. And anger is okay. It's a human emotion. It's okay to be angry. But what happens is for people who have chronic pain, they resist it. So they think it's a bad emotion. They think they shouldn't feel it, and they suppress it. They push it down. But that emotion doesn't go anywhere. Emotion is energy in motion. And if that emotion is not felt, it gets stuck in the body and creates imbalance. So honestly, you might be listening to this and saying, no, I'm not an angry person, right? I used to say that. This was one of my things. I'm not an angry person. And this was because I just wouldn't allow myself to get angry, right? Anger is part of the human experience. There is nothing wrong with being angry at all. And honestly, the reason I share this is because I needed to hear it when I was on my journey. I thought anger was bad. So therefore, I didn't want to feel it. So then I would say, I don't get angry, or I'm not an angry person. But like I said, anger is part of the human experience, and it's about embracing it as part of that experience, not suppressing it. And honestly, if you begin to meditate, you might notice, yeah, for sure, like there's certain things that I'm angry about. And that's okay, that's human. And really, through this process, it's about giving yourself permission to feel those emotions. It might not be anger, it might be sadness, it might be frustration. For some people, it's even rage, right? It's the full realm of human emotions, right? But it's to really give yourself permission to feel them. Okay? So that's resistance, both to life and resistance to our emotions, right? Another one of the causes is to do with identity, right? And limiting beliefs. So one thing that was really helpful for me to understand, and honestly, this more came to me as a realization, is that the body is the physical representation of the mind, right? So a lot of people talk about the mind-body connection. And what they're saying really is the mind and the body are actually one, right? They're just different densities. So the body is the more physical, denser form, but it reflects the mind, right? So if there's unease in terms of our body, in terms of pain, or whatever symptoms you're going through, it's reflective of an unease or a pain in the mind, right? And part of that can be, like I said earlier, suppressed emotions, but part of it can also be limiting beliefs, right? So if I live in different stories about myself, like I'm not good enough, I'm powerless, I'm not going to be okay, I'm not safe, all these different stories, right? If I live in these beliefs, then the body will reflect that in terms of how you feel, right? So part of this work is about identifying those beliefs and dissolving them too, to allow you to realize your true essence in the absence of those beliefs. And just to give you a glimpse of some of mine where I'm not safe, right? This was another emotion that was predominant for me was fear. And when I reflected back, I was very worried as a child too. And I only realized this when I began to go on this journey and do this work. But a lot of my symptoms as well were fear-based, right? So I had a lot of fear inside me. And it was about embracing that too and allowing myself to feel that fear, but also realizing that the world of I'm not safe wasn't true. It's not a truth, right? It's a story that I'd lived in. And once I dissolved that belief, the fear began to dissipate. So this is one belief: I'm not safe, which is also linked to I'm not going to be okay. This is common as well. I see it for people who experience chronic pain, because they're constantly fearing their symptoms as well as being in the symptoms. They're fearing that it's going to get worse. And then other beliefs, like I mentioned, is I'm not good enough. Again, if I'm constantly living in that world of I'm not good enough, it creates an internal terrain of disease. And yeah, there's a suite of other beliefs. Another one that was really predominant for me was there's something wrong with me. And this is common for many people who have these types of psychosomatic body-mind type diseases, is they have a belief that there's something wrong with them. And when we believe there's something wrong with us or there's something broken, we're constantly trying to fix it, right? And this is something that I began to realize throughout my journey, that I just believed that there was something wrong with me and that I needed to fix myself. And that was what was reflected in terms of my body with pain. It always gave myself something to focus on, something to try and fix, right? So again, through this process, it's realizing that there's nothing wrong with you. And you can still experience pain, right? And we'll get into that in a bit. You can simultaneously realize there's nothing wrong with you and still experience pain, but also realizing that there's nothing wrong with pain either. It's just part of the human experience. And when you experience pain, instead of resisting it, to embrace it. Okay? And then another cause is the nervous system, right? So we have two branches of the nervous system. We have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The sympathetic is fight or flight, right? This is the stress response. And this gets activated when there's a perceived threat, right? The important word is perceived. It doesn't actually have to be a real threat. And often it's a threat to our identity, right? Who we think we are. And often it's worrying about a worst case scenario that hasn't even happened yet, right? So we're worried about something that's going to happen and we perceive a threat. So for many people, it's, you know, we get threatened by, we feel a sense of threat within us if someone says something to us that we don't like, or someone does something that we don't like, right? They're pretty much the two, whatever examples you have in your own life, that's generally what it is. Someone says something or someone does something that we don't like, right? And then we have this response, this stress response. And the stress response, one of the responses is the muscles tense up, right? We're like this, it's fight or flight. Now, if you think about if you're in a constant state of fight or flight, you're in a constant state of tension. Now, if I'm like this all day, I'm going to feel pain. I'm going to feel tension. I'm going to feel tightness. Whereas if we can come into rest and digest, there's a state of relaxation. The body can relax and heal. So a lot of the practices I do is about promoting the rest and digest and coming away from the fight or flight response. Okay? So that gives you, yes, the root cause. If anyone wants to write a question into the chat, you are welcome to do that. I'm just going to check the time. Okay, that's cool. And I'm also going to take a breath. If everyone else wants to take a breath, that's always a cool thing to do as well. Yeah, and please, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat. Honestly, I'm trying to fit. It's like, you know, today I was like reflecting on what I was going to talk about, and there's just so many different directions I could go in. But I'm just trying to speak about things that I really think will help people in order for them to heal. So, yeah, you know, that's something that comes to me in terms of my experience too, is this whole thing of hoping that someone will save me. This was really part of my experience where I wanted someone to save me, right? Someone to come and wave the magic wand and I'd be okay. And don't get me wrong, I think like even coming to a masterclass like this, go and seeing practitioners, people who will support you on your healing journey is helpful. But ultimately, you are your own best healer. And I feel that any coach, healer, or therapist, or body worker who is really, that they're ultimately, it's about revealing the healer you are. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to empower you. I'm trying to help you realize that you can heal yourself, right? And even the people that I work with on a one-to-one level, it's about empowerment. It's not about this dependent thing that I'm not here to save them, right? I'm here to guide them. I'm here to ultimately help them realize that they can heal themselves far better than I can do for them. Now, for some people, it can, there can be a process to help them unlock that wisdom and intuition within them. But that's ultimately all I'm trying to do through this talk and through these practices, is to empower you. It's not a, we're conditioned a lot with this doctor-patient dynamic. It's part of our conditioning. We get sick as a kid, we go to a doctor, and we think it's their job to fix us. So it creates this codependent relationship within our minds, within our conditioning. And for me, it's about deconditioning and realizing that actually you have the power to heal yourself. Okay? And that's actually the good news, right? That's the good news. Okay, I do have a bit that I do want to still share as I look through this page. So I'm going to go on to healing now. So healing, right? How to heal, how you can heal yourself, right? The first and the number one thing is give yourself permission to feel your emotion. This is absolutely number one, right? For people who are in chronic pain, they resist their emotions, they resist pain, which only perpetuates the experience. Whatever we resist persists. So honestly, and this isn't just a practice for people in pain, this is a practice for anyone, right? It will lead to such a different experience of life, is when you experience pain, to embrace it as it is. This will transform your life if you do this one practice. Because it's the habit pattern of our minds. We experience pain, we resist it. We try to make it go away, right? This is, again, part of our conditioning. You think of adverts for painkillers, right? It's get rid of pain. I don't want this. It's about embracing pain as part of this human experience. Resistance just makes it persist and even makes it worse. So give yourself permission to feel. Another thing is to practice non-reaction to sensation. So sensations arise because I know for people who are in chronic pain, they experience some sort of sensation in the body, and immediately it's a catastrophe, right? It goes into worst case scenario. It goes into, oh my God, what is this sensation? What's wrong with me? How do I make it go away? What could this be now, right? But just be the witness. So a sensation arises, it might be unpleasant. Just be the witness. Just watch it arise, and it will pass. That's part of these sensations. They arise and they pass away. So that would be the first thing. Give yourself permission to feel, and then practice non-reaction to sensation. The second thing is, and I can only speak from personal experience, is meditation and breathwork are helpful. They are extremely helpful practices to bring the body into a state of balance and ease. If there's imbalance there, these will balance. They have this incredible capacity as well to awaken the body's inner intelligence and just help you realize who you truly are. There's a deeper aspect to them as well. But if you want relief from pain, if that's all you're interested in, this would be my suggestion. Practice meditation and breath work. They are incredibly powerful self-healing practices. And I would say practice them regularly, right? This is, you know, if you really want to get better, if you really want to heal, it's like a commitment. It's like, I'm committed. I'm going to do this, right? Okay, and then response versus reaction. And this is so important, right? And I touched on it a little bit, practicing non-reaction to sensations. But for people who are in pain, there's many different reactions they have to their pain. So the pain arises, or they're in pain, and they can firstly go into fix mode, right? Where they go onto the laptop, they try to look up, okay, what's wrong with me? Trying to look up their pain, trying to figure out what the diagnosis is. And then it's like, what doctor do I need to see? What practitioner do I need to see, right? So this is all part of, it's a reaction, right, to the symptoms that you're experiencing. So this is the first one. The second one is frustration. It's like, why me, right? Life's unfair. And the mind can go into a story of all the things the pain has stopped you from doing, all the ways it's ruined your life, right? This is another habit pattern of the mind. It's a reaction to the pain, right? So this is the second one. The third one is worry and fear. So it's like, this, what is this? Like, this is horrendous. This could be, I know for some people, they think, oh my God, it could be cancer, right? And this is another tendency of the mind to go to worst case scenario, right? And some people look for confirmation. It's like, I just need to go to a doctor for them to confirm with me it's not my deepest fear, right? So this is another habit pattern of the mind. So this is something to notice for yourself when the symptoms arise, because these are all part of the story of your pain. I've been there, I know. These are all the reactions I used to go into when I would experience pain. And instead, in those moments, to be still and just notice, okay, the symptom has arisen, the pain has arisen, the discomfort has arisen. Can I embrace it? Instead of resisting, instead of going into the story, instead of trying to fix it, instead of going onto the laptop, can I just allow it to be there and not react? And maybe that means you just sit still and close your eyes and just feel it. Just feel the pain. Maybe that's what to do in that moment, right? But moving from a state of reaction to response, this is so healing. So this would be my other suggestion. And honestly, if you sit, like if you take those moments and to find that sense of stillness when the symptom arises, this is when you begin to realize the cause of your pain. You begin to realize it yourself. I know from experience, because I realize in those moments, I'm like, wow, okay, I feel the pain in my body, but I also notice that I'm really pissed off about something that happened yesterday, right? And and actually, I'm kind of sad about something that happened last week. So then you begin to make the link between, okay, I'm in pain, my symptoms are arising, and also there's emotions there too, and there's thoughts. So this is how you begin to discover what's actually causing the pain in the first place. Okay? And right, what else is going to help? So on top of that, what is the antidote? So I've talked about resistance. Acceptance is absolutely a pillar to healing, being okay with the way things are, both on the external level, so being okay with your circumstances, right? But also accepting the pain as it is, right? Bringing that state of harmony. And I know that's like the last thing anyone wants to hear who's in pain. They're like, I just want to get rid of it, right? But it's about embracing it, right? That pain just wants to be felt and just allowing yourself to feel it. So acceptance is key, both on the outer and also the inner level. And then compassion. Compassion is like so important. You're doing the best you can, right? Just to have that compassion for yourself, honestly, like this is going to accelerate your healing so much. Okay. And bring that like essence of kindness and understanding to yourself. Start with yourself. Even when I felt I can even feel like a wave of like relief, that word compassion, kindness, and understanding, right? I can feel it in my body, right? These are the things that are going to help your situation. Love. Love is like, yeah, love is healing. Love is the answer, right? And forgiveness, right? So if there's certain things that people have done in your life that you're not happy with, to forgive, right? And one thing that really helped me is when I realized, and I read this in a book, and it just helped me so much, is the phrase was, do not try to forgive. So if I tell you I'm like, forgive that person, you're going to be like, no, right? I can't. Like trying to do that is like, if it was easy as that, everyone would do it. But to realize that forgiveness happens naturally when you realize that resentment serves no purpose other than to serve this false sense of self, i.e., your ego. It serves no other purpose other than to give the ego a sense of self. And then forgiveness just happens naturally. Okay? So this is the different qualities that I would encourage you to cultivate. And these qualities will come naturally through meditation, because they're innate. They're who you are in your essence, right? Compassion is there, love is there, acceptance is there. And it's just about realizing those qualities within you. Okay. Yes. The final section of the talk, and I do feel this is important, is diagnosis and prognosis. So this goes a lot into identity. And this is something, again, that's a huge obstacle to people healing, is that they become identified with their diagnosis. So what I really encourage people to do is to put all your diagnoses to one side. Put them away, right? Why is that? I am not denying anyone's inner experience of what they are experiencing within themselves. So pain, discomfort, whatever symptoms you experience, that is a very real experience. That's your reality. And I completely honor that. But a diagnosis is an opinion, is someone's opinion, probably based off a scan or what they tell you. Now, this is actually not the issue for me with diagnoses, because your diagnosis could be accurate in terms of your symptoms might match what that person says. But why a diagnosis often is not helpful for people is it doesn't give them any indicator into the nature of the imbalance they're experiencing. I.e., I was diagnosed with arthritis. For me, I'm like, that word doesn't give me any indicator of how, okay, what steps can I now take to get better, right? It doesn't do anything. Actually, for me, what that experience gave me was, I'm broken. Like, I'm never going to get better. That's what that diagnosis, that's what it told me, right? And then it became part of my identity. I have arthritis, right? So now I get out of bed in the morning and I kind of, the way I walk around, the way I do things, it's appropriate for someone who has that diagnosis. I'm super careful. I'm on edge. I feel fragile. I feel weak, right? It's all part of the diagnosis of arthritis. So the diagnosis didn't help me at all, right? But what helped is realizing the imbalances that I had. So realizing actually I don't identify with any diagnosis, right? What I realized is that I just have an experience of myself, which is pain and discomfort, and there's something causing that pain and discomfort. And when it arises, I don't even have to try and figure out what it is, right? That's another part of the mind trying to figure things out. It's to embrace the pain, right? Because in your essence, you are pure awareness, right? You're a soul having a human experience, right? Consciousness, awareness, whatever you want to call it, right? And for those of you who don't resonate with this or don't know what I'm talking about, what I'm speaking to is there is an part of you that's unchanging. So when you were 7 years old, there was an awareness there that knew you were 7, right? That was there, right? You might picture a moment back when you were 7, you can remember that as that experience, right? And there's the same awareness right now, right? That is aware of you having this human experience. That is the part that I'm speaking to. There's an aspect of you that's unchanging, right? And then the human experience is changing, right? So your body changes. You have a different body now to the body you had when you were 7. What else changes? Sensations change, thoughts change, emotions change. This is all part of the human experience. Disease, it arises and it passes away, right? So for many people who have pain, right, like this, the pain arises to the surface and they go into a story. They say, oh, I have arthritis. They go into the frustration. They go into the reaction that I spoke about, fixing, worrying, all these different reactions to the pain, right? But in that moment, it's to realize I am awareness having a human experience, and pain is part of that experience. I don't need to figure out what this is. I don't need to identify with the diagnosis. Worrying about the future, all of that, it's all part of the mind. And it's just about getting still and just embracing that experience in that moment. Just being the witness. That is the most powerful thing you can do, right? You don't need to identify with the diagnosis, anything. You just sit, be still, and allow the pain to be there. And that is the most powerful thing you can do on any level to heal yourself. So yeah, that's the talk. Honestly, that's everything I can give from the last 4 years. That is honestly everything that I can share. That is my heart and my soul. I am truly, I know how difficult it is for people who have this experience. It was so, honestly, so tough for me when I look back. I have so much compassion for that person, for that boy who was trying so hard to get better. And I am just here to share my experience to empower you. Honestly, I went to yoga classes for 3 years. I remember walking to those classes and just hating them. I was in so much pain, but I just kept going because my commitment to get better, that was the most important thing for me. Honestly, I was like, it doesn't matter how much money I have. It doesn't matter about my circumstances. What matters is my experience of myself. This is the most important thing. And I just committed to that. And here I am now. And you want to know the truth? I still experience pain. It's part of the human experience. I am not here to make people pain-free. That is a ridiculous thing to offer someone. No, that's not. Pain is part of the human experience. You could go outside your door and stub your toe. How can I prevent that? That's not why I'm here. I'm here to educate you about the nature of pain so you can truly understand it and hence heal from it. But a huge part for people who are in pain is to realize that, okay, you might be in pain now, but the story of past and future is a story. And my teacher put up a great one. He put it up on Instagram recently about one of the things that obstacles to people with chronic pain is believing that it's chronic. You can only ever be in pain right now. Chronic is the story that I've spoken about, the frustration of the past and worrying about the future. And like I said, it's about just in the moment being still and yeah, okay, I'm in pain right now. Like, so you might experience some discomfort, some pain, and embracing that as part of your human experience. And that will promote healing. So, yes, this is the talk. And you know, on a deeper level, I've spoken about soul having a human experience. Ultimately, people always ask the question. They always think about all the things that pain is stopping them doing, all the ways it's costing me in my life. A great question to ask yourself is, what does the pain start wanting me to do? Because when I look back, I didn't want to change my life, but I wanted my pain to go away. But through a change in perception, in the way that I viewed myself, the way I viewed life, the way I viewed other people, naturally my life began to transform and my pain began to transform. But it's an inward transformation that occurs, and then the pain begins to dissipate. And yeah, that was something I didn't want to do initially, but ultimately I see it as a gift now, because it helped me to realize who I truly was, and I look back at the life that I was living, and it wasn't in alignment with who I was. So now I look at the pain and I see it as a gift. And honestly, if you listen, follow that path, listen to the pain, ask it what it's trying to teach you, it will be your greatest teacher. So yeah, that's the talk. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being present. I have the utmost compassion for you, and I wish you all the healing in the world. But for now, we will go into we're going to go into the meditation. I ran over this. This is what happens with this stuff. So I'm going to do a meditation for 20 minutes or so. So it will run over by about 10 minutes. After that, I'll take some questions if anyone wants to stay on and just have a chat. I love talking to people and just conversing, and you know, if anyone wants to share what they're going through, absolutely welcome. But for now, we'll do a meditation and we'll go from there. For anyone who needs to leave on time, like you might need to leave in 12 minutes, just set an alarm for yourself. Even if you just do 12 minutes of the meditation, that's awesome. So, great. So we'll do this lying down. I feel like it would be nice lying down. So if you want to lie down in the position you are at the start of this masterclass, and we will begin. So, thank you, Jean, for your chat, for your message. If anyone wants to write a message in the chat, you're absolutely welcome. But for now, we will go into the meditation. So you can just lie down onto your back and just allow yourself to rest. And allowing your body to completely surrender to the earth. There's nothing you have to do. And there's nowhere to get to. And from that space, allowing yourself to arrive in the now. Remembering that the present moment is all you ever have. As you begin to connect to your body, so we're going to scan through the body here. And as we do so, allowing this process to be completely effortless. As I guide you through these different points in the body, you might feel discomfort. You might not even be able to locate the point. You might feel pain, right? These are all part of the human experience. And my invitation to you is to remain effortless and also in a state of non-reaction to whatever your experience is. So firstly, bring your awareness to your feet. Be effortless as you completely relax. Awareness to your calves. Be effortless. Your knees. Be mindful of your knees as you cultivate deep relaxation. Awareness to the hip joint. Be effortless. Practicing non-reaction to sensations. Be the witness. Awareness to your navel center. Bottom of your sternum. Be effortless. Awareness to the center of your chest. Be effortless. Awareness to your throat. Deeply relax. Awareness to your shoulder joints. Be effortless. Elbows. wrists, tips of the fingers and the thumbs. Deeply relax. Awareness to the wrists, elbows, shoulder joints. Be effortless. We're not trying here. It's just effortless awareness. Center of the throat. Be effortless. We're not trying. Awareness to the eyebrow center. Deeply relax. Center of your forehead. Be effortless. And now, see all of those points all at once. Gently, your awareness moves to your breath. Locating your breath. Watching the natural flow of your breath at your navel center, or wherever the breath is present for you at this moment. You don't need to change the breath. Just observe it in its natural state. As the breath flows at the ideal rhythm for this moment. Continue to observe your breath. The breath is guided by innate intelligence, and you are an awareness of the breath. Continue to observe your breath for the next few minutes. Thoughts, sensations may arise. Just be aware of these thoughts and sensations, and without judging or reacting to these thoughts or sensations, bring your awareness back to your breath, effortlessly observing the natural flow of your breath as it travels through your body. If your mind has wandered, without judgment of where it drifted to, come back to the effortless flow of your breath And now coming back into your body, being aware of your body, and then allowing the body to wake up in whatever way feels comfortable for you. Just making any movements. And then rolling to one of your sides, maybe the right-hand side. As you roll to the right, take a breath here and just begin to become aware of the surroundings of your room that you're in. Maybe connecting to any sounds that are present as you just begin to return to the outer world. And then eventually just returning to a seat. And we're just going to end, I spoke about compassion today and how compassion is, for me, one of the pillars to healing. So this is a compassion meditation that we can do, we can practice. So if you want to keep your eyes closed, I'm going to repeat this compassion meditation, and then you can do it with me. So firstly, you can just receive the meditation from me, and then we can do it together. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be free. So you can repeat it with me this time. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be free. And we're going to replace the I this time with all beings. So just to give you an opportunity to do it, because I appreciate you may not fully know the meditation yet, I will say the first line and then give a section to pause and allow you to do it yourself, and second line and third line and so on. So the first line is, may all beings be filled with loving kindness. Repeat after me. Second line, may all beings be well. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. May all beings be free. And just take a moment to rest in that space of compassion. And we're going to end the masterclass with what is called an Om. The world of sound is a different layer that I haven't gone into when it comes to healing, but for those of you who've been to my workshops before, you'll know how to chant Om. It's just Om, A-U-M. So if you want to do it, you can do it. If not, you can just listen to it from me and just hear the vibrations, and not even hear the vibrations, feel the vibrations. They have a very healing effect. So if you want to do it with me, you can. We'll take an inhale for Om. Allow yourself to receive the vibrations.